everyone. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Third Shot Podcast. We've got a really special episode coming up today. Full squad here. I also highly recommend watching this one on YouTube. It'll be super beneficial to meet your New Year's resolution fitness goals. So stick with us through this intro and you'll have a full fitness guide later on. And if you already haven't followed us on our Instagram and Facebook, please head on over there. Look us up at Third Shot Podcast. You can also find us on X at Third Shot Pod, or you can check out our website, thirdshotpodcast.com. Team Third Shot, let's do a toast because that's not very often that all four of us are here. We have Amanda and Russ.
What are the chances of us doing a shot too? Like, that's crazy.
I know. Cheers, all.
Cheers.
This is going to be a fun show. You know, we're starting the new year, 2025. Everybody has their resolutions, but I know one of all four of ours is like, let's get in better shape for all different reasons, but let's get in better shape for 2025.
Absolutely. And for my reason, mine's coming up so fast. So I've got to really buckle down. And I'm hoping that what Amanda and Blaze show us today just kind of like, sparks that remotivation under me to kind of get moving and to stay on track with things. Because my wedding is coming up in 3 months. That's it.
That's crazy to me. I can't believe it. But that's also like what I'm working towards too. I'm like Bridgie's wedding and I got to get fit for Bridgie's wedding. So
for everybody that's listening, Amanda is actually in Bridgie's wedding. So not only just a guest, but you're going to be up front.
Yes. Yeah. I'm so honored. I'm going to be a part of Bridgie's wedding. So I'm so excited. But that's definitely something that, I'm trying to get in shape for. So we'll both be doing these workouts, hopefully implementing them.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I'm excited because our guest today, Blaze Boudreau, is my new trainer. And he's in Las Vegas with the two of you, but he's going to be training me virtually. So it's really cool. This is the first time I've ever used a virtual trainer where we're going to be checking in. Anyway, we're going to explain how it's going to work in this episode, but I am committed. I am going to give this body the best shot of performing on the courts as possible in 2025. Plus, I better look good for Bridgie's wedding too.
Dang,
right.
Yeah. We all have 3 months to go.
This is like bringing us together. We're all just like working towards that wedding.
Yeah. Rush,
thinking 4 months. Who cares, right? Like, we could just gain weight. We can do whatever. No longer matters.
Rush, you've been doing your cardio.
I've been, one thing that I did for this year is, and it's actually, I guess, it's a physical and also mental health thing of like just blocking out my calendar during certain times to like have lunch, go for a walk, like hour and a half each day, like block that time. That way I actually get an hour, because if I put an hour, it's going to end up to be like 45 minutes or 30 minutes or something. So I decided to block an hour and a half, just knowing that there's going to be interruptions and part of that. So that's kind of been my new thing, my latest.
That's cool.
That's smart.
Yeah. Bridgie, so tell us, like, what have you started doing to get ready for this wedding as far as workout and like you're already in great shape. So what, are you adding stuff or are you just maintaining? What's the deal?
So I've increased my cardio. And I think that's just more of a personal thing. Like growing up, and I know I've mentioned it on the show plenty of times, but I played soccer a lot. So that was like full 90 minutes because I would play the entire game of cardio. And now I like the only cardio I get is if I'm playing pickleball, and singles seems to be like the only cardio because doubles, it's a good workout, but you're not like, you don't feel gassed afterwards. So I've been really trying to focus on my cardio at the gym specifically. And so I've been running a lot on the treadmill, doing incline stuff, in addition to like the regular strength training. But yeah, it's been fun to kind of get it back and feel that little bit of soreness the next day. I love feeling sore. I think that's like, I don't know, love-hate relationship with working out is like, you're like, oh, I hurt so bad, but it also feels so good at the same time. I don't know how that works out, but I love that feeling.
Mhm.
Yes, it hurts so good. You're
Yeah.
like-
Right. So you're a treadmill person for your cardio? Do you do bike or elliptical or any of those types of things?
Preferably, I like being outside for cardio, like sitting on a treadmill, just staring at like a screen or nothing is not my most favorite, but it's, it's the easiest, it's most convenient. The bike, I don't know. Sometimes the seat like is uncomfortable and you can't get it
Totally.
in the right spot. So bike's out of there. And then elliptical, I heard a long time ago that it's like really bad on your knees because it's not a natural movement. I don't know if that's true or if maybe technology has changed, but ever since I heard that, I was like, avoid elliptical. So I just stick to the treadmill.
Oh, well, we'll have to
That's
ask
interesting.
Blaze that a little later about that.
Yeah,
See
he'll
what
give
his
us some
recommendation.
insight for sure.
Amanda, you have a very healthy lifestyle. Tell us what you're doing right now.
I would say it's kind of similar to Bridgie. I do a little bit of like weight strength training and then cardio also. It's been kind of a interesting year for me because I used to dance on a dance team. So that was like guaranteed cardio like 3-4 times a week. And then now that I'm not, I'm like trying to find other ways. So I've gotten a little bit more into like running. I like to do like a long run, but like at a comfortable pace. Or and then just trying to like take dance classes every once in a while to still dance, for fun. And it's like a fun way to get in some cardio. Kind of like pickleball, just like doing something on the side. But I'd say, yeah, mostly. Well, I also forgot to mention I work in a gym as well. So that's like makes it nice. And I try to at least do like 4 weight training days and then like cardio in between.
Well, the day that we went to the gym together,
Yes.
and I saw what you're doing as far as weight training goes, I was like, holy smokes. That
Thank
girl is
you.
strong, man. You were pumping some serious iron. It was leg day for you, but you were doing some heavy duty squats with weights, some leg presses. You had the whole thing going. And I was like, I was doing my little cardio and I was watching and I was like, dang.
Thank you. Wow. I didn't know you were watching, but I think I agree with Bridgie though. Like it really is like the burn is good. And I like the next day when you feel sore. So I try to I thrive off of it.
Russ, I've never asked you this before, but have you ever joined a gym? Like in the years that I've known you, I don't know if you did a gym membership, but I know you.
I I've done a couple actually. I did one a former employer had it where it was like just part of the part of working there. Like
Mhm.
they like basically you sign on, you get like a 3-year gym membership. I'm like, okay, this is cool. Part of
Nice.
the like signing bonus type of thing. And I did that for quite some time. It was like a 24-hour fitness thing.
Mhm.
And you know me, it's like the whole people watching thing comes into play. And I I feel like I came out with more material than muscle. Like,
You do see some things at the gym.
oh,
That's for
totally, totally. I mean, there was this one guy that I don't know. Whenever I get the opportunity to talk about this one dude, it was just hilarious because he only did arms. He never did legs at all.
Of
So
course.
it was like he was built like a upside down pyramid. Like he had these like amazing, huge arms and chest and like like rail thin legs. Like maybe do a leg day just every once in a while.
Just
But he had so much, it was so muscular that like he would like taking off and putting on his like t-shirt was a struggle for him. He's like,
Yes.
trying to move around. Like You need
I've
help
seen
with
that
that,
before.
buddy? Like, I mean, I think it gets to a point of where, okay, maybe that's a bit much, or you need to buy bigger t-shirts. But I don't think he wants to because he wants to show off the muscles.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of like what you were
it's a
showing
problem.
me, Amanda, about the John Cena taking off his shirt. He's so
That's
big, right?
exactly what I was thinking of. If
Yeah.
anybody has seen John Cena take his shirt off in the ring, he can't put his hands over his head, so he takes one arm out and then like pulls it over his head in like an awkward way. But there's like compilations online of him taking his shirt off because he's just like he can't even like touch his shoulders. Like it's crazy.
Right.
That's
Right.
so funny.
Yeah, I know how he feels.
Right.
Everyday struggle, huh, Uncle?
But mine is just because I'm old and my shoulders hurt. I guess. Bridgie, what have you seen in the gym that cracks you up?
Oh my gosh, there's just all kinds of stuff going on. Like you always have the people, and I feel bad because like everyone should be encouraged when they step into the gym to like get their workout in, exercise for their body, whatever feels good. But some people just need a little bit more education on how to use some of the machines. And now
Right.
it's great because they have QR codes on them, so you can scan them and it walks you through how to use them, and they can be intimidating or kind of weird looking. So I think people trying to figure out how to use them on their own is a little bit comical at times. Or like they see trendy things online and they think they got to go in there and like sit backwards on one of the machines and use it how it's not intended to be used. That always kind of makes me laugh. But
You know what made me laugh? I saw this video where you know the machines where you have the cables and you have bars and you do the pull downs or those types of things. A guy rigged it so he hooked up his pickleball paddle to one of those and he was practicing his stroke with weights, right? So he was trying to build up his muscles
That's
holding
funny.
his paddle. I thought that was the funniest video I ever saw.
You might be onto something.
I don't know. Hey Russ, I have to, you mentioned that you kind of people watch and you come up with new material. This is actually a question for all three of you. Is like, I wonder if you're people watching, you're thinking of material, but maybe they're thinking, what's this guy checking me out? What just stop staring at me and stuff like that. So I was wondering if you ever wondered if
Maybe.
anybody ever caught you staring or, writing notes
Well,
about,
it's less
my
of
next
it's
routine.
less of just a a mental note guy
Okay.
shirt, so it's not I'm not like, being voyeuristic here and staring at him.
But I bet you there's a bunch of people that do, right? Amanda and Bridgie, there's guys that are probably checking you guys out that are not doing a improv routine. Are not.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I hope that they're doing an improv routine, but I don't think that's the case. Like that would be best case scenario.
You know what though? I will say like I zone out a ton in the gym, so sometimes I'll just be like off in my own world, just like staring into the distance, and I realize I'm like looking at somebody, and I'm like, oh my god, they probably think I was staring at them this whole time, or like, and I have my headphones in, so I'm like not thinking about that at all, and I'm like, there's definitely people thinking I'm a weirdo, like staring at them.
That's funny.
Well, the funny thing is like when I'm in the gym, I don't wear my glasses. So I can only see a certain amount of distance. Like from where I sit to my computer, no problem. But I can't see too much further clearly. So I'm looking at stuff, but I'm not seeing it.
Exactly,
Right.
like they probably think that you're looking, but
I
you're
have no
not.
idea. I see little, fuzzy things moving out there, and I hear the weights landing and clanking together, but that's about it.
That's good.
It's
It keeps you
crazy.
focused.
It does. It does. Well, I am super excited to start working with Blaze. Like I said, Blaze Boudreau, he's a trainer out of Las Vegas, and he is going to start working with me specifically on getting my body in shape for pickleball. I want to get physically stronger for the game of pickleball. The mental part, I don't know if Blaze can help me with, but the physical part, I know he can. So we're going to move this over to the gym, and Amanda and Blaze will be joining us from the gym, and Blaze Boudreau will be joining us and showing us some cool exercises and stretches that will help me out. So stay tuned. In the meantime, this is your opportunity. Go and subscribe to our show. It helps us a ton. please go on to any of the podcast platforms that you might be listening to this on. Definitely go to YouTube. This is your opportunity to switch over to YouTube because you definitely want to see the exercises that are going to be coming in with Blaze, and go to our website, thirdshotpodcast.com. So let's move this over to the gym and let's get started on my 2025 workout plan. Hey, Blaze, welcome to
Hey
Third
guys,
Shot.
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We're super excited to see what you have in store for us. And this is exciting because it's like one of our first episodes where we get to be someplace else, kind of.
Yeah, we're at the gym working out. I love this. This is inspirational for us.
No, yeah,
So
I'm super
before,
excited to be your first
yeah,
live
before we get
action.
into it, we're going to do a quick little shot, our second shot with
Perfect.
Blaze and Amanda over there.
Oh
Is
yeah,
everybody,
I'm back
Amanda?
here.
Yeah, there she is. She is behind the camera right now doing the recording. Cheers.
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 What are you guys shooting over there? Is it pre-workout?
Get a little bit of C-bum pre-workout.
Nice.
Nice. So Blaze, tell us and our listeners what your background is, what it is that you do. We're super excited to hear more about what everything entails in being a trainer.
Yeah, so I played football for 15 years. I played Division I college football. Um, a lot of my background, a lot of my base knowledge is from that. I took kinesiology courses while I was in college, and then since then I'm certified PT, certified uh, multi-movement developmental coach. I have nutrition certifications and a bunch of small certifications in soft tissue recovery, stretching, physical therapy, etc. A lot of what I do now, especially, is I work with a lot of athletes, a lot of youth athletes. I also work with a lot of clients that are 65 and older. So a lot of these workouts are really geared towards moving better, feeling better, preventing and getting rid of pain, and just living a healthier all-around lifestyle. We still obviously do weight training, but it has a little bit of a twist on it so that we're really getting ourselves into awkward positions and really preparing ourselves for the random things that pop up in our day-to-day life, and then preparing ourselves for um, the extreme positions we put ourselves in while playing sports.
Well, that's exactly what I need. And that's why, in talking to you, I was really excited to have you as my trainer because you understand you are already working with people of my age. Plus, you obviously work with people younger. And you kind of told me that you work with people of all ages. You have some teenagers all the way up into what, in their 80s or something like that. So you work with people of all ages, but specifically about pickleball. Right. I want to make sure that my muscles and my body is ready to perform the best I can, and not have the physical side of it be any limitation for me in 2025. So that's why, in talking to you, I'm just super pumped up about what 2025 is in store for me, because if I can get my body ready to go at the best it can, I know it's going to translate into better performance on the court.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
So let's get started. Like, what do you have in plan for me? And, kind of let's show and tell our audience, because a lot of people are just listening, what we're going to be working on.
Yeah, I'll do my best to explain. Some of these exercises are going to be a little funky, but basically our main goal, especially with sports like pickleball, where we take it very seriously, but at the same time, for a lot of people, it's very leisure. It's a good way, an alternative way to get cardio in. A big focus is injury prevention. So when it comes to injury prevention, we like to focus a lot on the ankles, the hips, and the lower back. Um, you may think first thing people think is knee, but a lot of times with the knee, it's either stemming from the ankle or from the hips. It's kind of like that part of the body that's stuck in the middle, and usually it's affected by something else and not necessarily itself. So when we're doing these type of exercises, we want to be doing static holds. We want to be doing exercises that are going to be strengthening those areas, and we're going to be kind of overloading those areas in our workouts so that when we do get onto the pickleball court, that we're already prepared and we've already done um, that speed and that pace and those type of movements. So the first thing that we always start off with is a movement assessment. So Whether you're over the Zoom call online or whether you're in person with me, we always do a movement assessment. We got to identify dysfunction, identify which side of your body's worse, identify um, where we can fix problems and where problems are stemming from if you already have problems that you told me about. And then sometimes you can also self-diagnose, like from playing that maybe going to your left, you're a little bit slower, you feel a little bit behind rather than going to your right. So it's always about identifying first what we want to work on and then attacking those things. So for example, I have multiple weights here. I have a plate, a kettlebell, and then also a dumbbell, because they're all really interchangeable. It doesn't necessarily matter which one that you're using, they can all be used. So we're going to get into some isolated exercises. Ideally, we want to do isolated exercises. We don't want to have any compensation. We want to make sure that each side of our body and each muscle is getting the individual work that it needs. It'll just make us way more prepared, and it kind of has the most effect rather than you doing a double-legged exercise and your right leg's so much stronger that it's compensating. Your left leg's not getting as much work as it needs, especially if you're slow going to your left and then now your right's just doing all the work. So actually, without doing weights first, we'll do without weights first. Can you see my feet? Sorry, I got to back up a little bit. So a lot of what I like to do with a lot of my athletes especially is working on the ankles. The ankles are obviously the base of your body, and that's where a lot of problems can stem from in the first place. So a great warm-up and a great exercise that I love to do with a lot of my clients is kind of a heel elevated bound, but we're going to do it in place. So usually when we bound, we're going forward, but we're going to take that same concept of barely touching the ground and being in a standstill position. So heels are going to be off the ground, ball of our feet, and then we're just going to try and stay off the ground as fast as we can. So we want to spend almost no time on the ground, kind of working plyometrics, making sure that we're stretching out that ankle, that calf muscle, and all those things that we normally don't work. When we're walking on a day-to-day basis, our feet are not getting any elasticity. You're not getting that full range of motion through your Achilles, through your calf muscle, and through your ankle in general. So the best thing I like to do is try to get us to stretch that as much as we possibly can. So we're working the full range of that muscle, or that band is really what it's more like. So when we're attacking these movements, we want to be fast. We want to stay off of the ground as much as possible, and we want to get as much range of motion as we possibly can. So that's the active way of doing it. And then what we can really do is weight or body weight. We want to find a third point of contact if we possibly can. We're going to raise one foot up, and then we're going to do single leg calf raises. Now, not only is it working your calf, once again, it's working that ankle, it's working that feet stability, and it's working those toes, which are very underrated when we're working out. Your toes are the things that are gripping the ground, and that's what keeps us balanced. That's what keeps our body control really in check.
How
And
many
that's what's really
raises would
important.
you suggest per foot?
So it really depends on if you're doing it as your warm-up or if you're doing it during your workout. If you're, let's just say you're going to be attacking the court, so you're not working out, you're just going to be playing pickleball. We want to do a pretty good sizable warm-up. I'd say about 20 reps at 2 to 3 sets. So it's not really about doing volume. It's about getting that burn and getting it really activated as fast as possible. So a lot of reps, but less sets. And then if we were to be attacking in the gym and doing it as part of our workout, then we want to elongate it a little bit, maybe do 10 to 12, go a lot slower and take our time on it so that we're getting that full range and really feeling that burn. So those are some of the single leg exercises that are a really good start for your warm-ups before you get on the court.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never even thought, and it's so smart to work out your toes. Like I think we underestimate how involved they are in our workout, so that makes total sense.
Yeah, ideally if you can, especially you have the comfort in your gym to do it. It's really nice to be able to do these either in socks or barefooted. As crazy as it sounds, it allows your toes to spread more, and you can really practice your balance and your body control a lot better without shoes on. And it may sound contradictory because you're gonna have shoes on while you're playing pickleball, but the real goal here is to kind of get in tune with your body and really find body control and find comfort in doing these awkward movements, because you're never going to be in that awkward movement while playing. But the goal is to kind of build that strength and that familiarity in that foot and in that ankle, because that's all the support that you're going to have. If your knee goes out, it's probably because of an ankle weakness or something stemming from your feet, because that's where everything starts.
Makes sense.
So as far as lower body exercises go, a lot of it, like I said, is going to be static holding, a lot of single leg isolated exercises. The other thing that we really want to focus on that I touched on when we started was the hips. So kind of going over the ankle and the knee a little bit and the calf, but the hips are just as important, starting at the hip and the waist down, obviously closely connected to the back, and then the adductors and the glutes are huge. So soft tissue is extremely important. So making sure that we're rolling out and we're getting a lot of that lactic acid and some of those tight buildups that we have in our glutes and our hamstrings loosened up. Because once again, that'll affect our knees, it'll affect our hips, and it'll affect our feet. Because the backside of our leg muscles are way bigger and they support way more of our lower body than we think. A lot of people think it's the quads just because it's, you know, front and center. That's what you see. People usually have big quads, but your hammies and your glutes do all the work. So if you have tight hammies and glutes, then your hips are going to be compensating too much. You have a lot of hip pain. You have a lot less range of motion in your hips. And then that's going to cause your knees to go next. And your knees are going to be compensating. Then you're going to feel knee soreness and knee pain when you're doing those movements. So a lot of this stuff is really about being proactive and taking care of yourself more than being able to lift heavier, be able to do these crazy type of movements. It's really important to kind of hit the basics and hit the basics hard and be really effective when you're doing so.
So what is a good move for the hips? What's a good exercise for the hips? Because everything makes sense. And I know I have tightness in the hip area.
Yeah, there's a couple great ones. I'm gonna semi get on the floor here. I'm gonna do my best to explain this for those who are not watching, because it is a little bit hard to explain. So if you guys can think of the little green army toy guy, that's the best way to think about it. So we're gonna get on one knee, back straight, and then you can do this with the weight. I'm gonna show without the weight and then I'll show with the weight. We wanna have that back foot toe up, and then we wanna have about a 90-degree perfect angle with our front leg. And then what we're going to do is, to the best of our ability, if it's a little bit tougher for you at first, you can get up a little bit higher. But we barely want to lift ourselves off the ground, and then we're going to rotate both of our feet, and then we're going to finish facing the other way in the same exact position that we started. So we're just barely be off the ground, rotating those ankles, and then taking it right back down to a knee. And obviously the first couple are going to feel a little bit awkward. You're probably going to stand up a little bit more than you should. And then as you get more comfortable, you'll stay lower and lower. And that's really just slowly working how your hips open up and rotate from one side to the other. That one's a little bit more advanced. You can hold a weight while doing so. You can have something on your shoulder whilst you're moving. But that one's a little bit more of an active hip exercise. It's not really a static stretch, because obviously there's a lot of movement involved. It's a little bit more exhausting than just a standard stretch.
I think that one's also going to be helpful for when I'm playing pickleball. It'll help me with kind of rotation as I'm, swinging through a ball. I think, going both hand, forehand and backhand, doing it both ways that way is really going to help me with my rotation.
Yeah, that's it's best to be able to do active warm-ups to the best of your ability, even though we're not like really moving around on that one. Obviously there's movement involved rather than being in a standstill position. So another move that we can do that's a little bit more stationary is we're going to get on all fours. And normally when people do these, they stay on all fours, and then you can get down onto your forearms, and then they push their hips back. So right now I'm on my knees, I'm on my elbows and forearms on the ground, and we're kind of pushing back in that yoga pose. But a way that we can kind of make this a little bit more effective is we're going to kick one leg out and make sure that foot's flat on the ground. We don't want to have it on our side. We want to get that foot fully flat, readjust so that you're really spread out. And then you're going to get back down to your elbows and forearms. And then now we're going to push back and rock and isolate those legs and really just slowly keep sinking back. Don't stop yourself. Just let yourself keep sinking. It'll slowly open up. And you get as far back until your butt touches the heel of that other foot. And then you can pop back forward and release, and then get back into it. Exercises like these don't necessarily need a rep count specifically. I mean, you can put one on it, but you'll feel it slowly loosen up, slowly loosen up, slowly loosen up as you do a couple of reps. And then you can switch legs. And then if you notice that your left leg might be a little bit tighter, you can spend a little more time on the left leg. But the goal is really just to kind of release tension and just slowly loosen up and kind of play it by ear on how many you do on those. Because if you're still tight, you should keep going.
That's good to know. I always wonder like how long to hold a static stretch for, because growing up playing sports, I was like, oh, we're all gonna like count to 20, but it sounds like you need to just kind of more listen to your body until you feel that release of tension. Is that right?
Yeah, a good rule of thumb is you never want to be in a lot of pain when you're doing these exercises. So let's just say I pushed all the way back till my butt was touching my heel, and I was at like a 9 out of a 10 on the pain. I wouldn't want to get back that far. So you want to get back as far as I would say about a 6 or 7 out of 10 on your pain level. You never really want to go past that. Then you're kind of putting yourself at risk of injury or risk of pulling something because there's a reason it hurts that bad. And then once you kind of let that tension release to about a 2 or 3 out of 10, and then you can either push it a little bit more and try and get past that 7 out of 10 pain threshold, or you can stop there and then revisit it the next day and try to push yourself a little bit more. But you should really never be more than a 6 or 7 out of 10 on your pain, whether you're doing soft tissue, stretching, whatever it is you're doing for your warm up. It should never hurt that bad.
Okay.
No.
Now, one of the other things that I really want to focus on is kind of my shoulders, right?
Mhm.
Because, I have tightness, and every once in a while when I go for an overhead, I feel a little twinge or something. Played baseball most of my life, baseball or softball. So I think there's probably some damage that was done over the years,
Yeah,
just wear and
definitely.
tear. But I don't want to have that fear in the back of my mind that, oh, if I go after this overhead, I'm going to hurt myself or I'm going to have that shooting pain. What can we do about shoulders that might help in that situation?
So I have two strong opinions on shoulder exercises as far as a whole, not really anything specific, but one is that our shoulders are the only joint in our body that is a full 360-degree rotation. So you really have to take care of them. There's nothing else in your body that does anything like the shoulder does, and it gets used more than pretty much most of the other body parts, just because of how much of an awkward position that you put it in on a day-to-day basis. They don't even realize. Whether you're reaching for something to put it away, or you put yourself in really awkward positions without even knowing it because we're so used to doing it and being able to do it that you don't realize what you're doing. So the care when you're doing your warm-ups is you need to work that 360-degree rotation. So unfortunately, we don't have a PVC pipe, but ideally, I like to grab a PVC pipe, a band, anything that you can get to a little bit past shoulder width on, and we want to work that whole 360-degree rotation. So I like to call them windmills. So we would take shoulder width apart right past our hips. And what we're going to do is we're going to take one side and we're going to slowly move it around our head. Try not to bend that elbow. Obviously, my elbow is bending right now because I don't have anything to hold on to. And then bring it back down to our opposite hip. So I just went from my right hip in front of me, and then that ended up on my right hip behind me. And then you're going to end up with both hands behind your back. And then you're going to rotate that other one back over to back in front of you so that now they're both in front of you. So it should be one at a time. You should be taking one from the front hip to the back hip, and then you're taking the opposite hand from the back hip back up to the front hip, so that we're getting that full 360-degree rotation. We're really working that shoulder. Another thing that we can do to kind of simplify that a little bit is just have both overhands in front of our hip and then just rolling it straight back until both hands end up behind us. So those are two really good static warm-ups or stationary warm-ups that we can do for our shoulders that are probably the best that you can do that's not exercise related. But then when we go into lifting weights, the biggest thing that it's more of a bodybuilder thing, but a lot of people that aren't super familiar with the gym are going to kind of take that at face value as our range of motion. So a lot of people always say, stop about halfway and keep all that tension. Whenever we're doing shoulder exercises, we want to get our full range of motion. So whether you drop the weight by 20, 30, 40 pounds, we want to be able to do a weight where we can fully extend our arms and get them all the way back so that we're stretching that muscle, because stretching that muscle is what's going to make it stronger. When we have our weights, let's just take a bench press, for example, because that's what most people are going to connect with. If you come back halfway and stop, all that tension's on your shoulder. All that tension's not on your chest. So you have 200 pounds of weight and you're just holding it and it's not getting that full stretch. You're holding it halfway. And that's just like having a cable ready to snap. So that's where a lot of that shoulder pain comes from. A lot of people that work out, obviously specifically baseball players that use that shoulder a lot, everybody has shoulder pain because everybody's used to that rule of thumb of not getting your full range of motion. Stop halfway and kind of keep that tension in your chest or keep that tension in whatever you're working. The full range of motion is super key to unlocking some of that shoulder pain, being more flexible. And then once you do it for a long period of time, then it's just going to slowly go away because now that muscle is used to being stretched more. It's stronger and it's used to being in that deep position and then getting out of that deep position more effectively and easier without having to put any strain anywhere else.
So I've got a random question, but a lot of people, it seems like if they experience shoulder pain, they also experience elbow pain. Do you think that they're related? Like going back to what you were saying about your ankles and your feet causing hip pain or knee pain, is it something similar too with your upper body?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely a correlation working down. It's not as common as some of the lower body connections, but they are connected. That shoulder connects into your bicep, it connects into your elbow, connects into your tricep. That shoulder is connected to everything that's going down your arm. That's basically like the hub or like the hip of your upper body because everything runs through that. Your neck muscles run through it. Everything's going to run through your shoulder. And that's why when people have shoulder surgeries or people have shoulder injuries, it's, you're out for a long time because you're having multiple things worked on. You're having your bicep worked on, you're having your neck worked on a little bit. A lot of other things come into play, but it also comes down to your dysfunction. That's why it's not as common. So when it comes to that upper body, like when you push, like your elbows may be turning out, like you may have some type of dysfunction that's activating that elbow more than it should. And then also a lot of that tricep muscle. That tricep muscle is just like the hamstring on your legs. It's a much bigger muscle and it does a lot more support than the bicep does. So if you have a weak tricep muscle, just to say that's the easiest way to put it, that elbow is going to take a lot of heat from that because that strain's going to go right into the next closest thing, and that's going to be your elbow. So it really depends on the dysfunction that you have individually.
What about the forearm? I always think like forearm is really important for like compact pickleball swings, right? But it's kind of the whole thing working together. But I always feel like strong wrists, strong forearms would help in those little quick, fast motions that you're not really taking a big wind up in.
Yeah, definitely. Dumbbells really come into play a lot when it comes to your forearms and your wrists. That's why free weighted exercise are always really, really beneficial for many reasons, but that's one of them. Your forearm muscle, of course, you can work out. You can do exercise for your forearm muscles, but when you're holding free weights, no matter if you're doing leg exercises, no matter what exercise you're doing, you're gripping those weights and you're moving those weights, and your wrist and your hands are having to support it no matter what type of movement you're doing. Even if you're squatting, that wrist is supporting that weight. So doing a lot of free weights is really good for it. And then a lot of people don't realize that you can do soft tissue on any part of your body. So you can get a ball, you can get a foam roller, and you can apply pressure onto. I'm going to use my knee as an example. Let's just say my knee is the foam roller. We can get that forearm palm up, and we can really put it against that. Use our other hand as a pressure so we can control how much pressure we're putting down. And then you can still roll out your forearm and work that forearm. So even for people that type, for people that are doing stuff all day, bartenders, anything that works that wrist, you can still do soft tissue on your forearm, on that wrist area. You can get all the way up to the base of your bone of your wrist. So there's a lot of people think when soft tissue, they're just using the big muscles. They're thinking the hamstrings, the glute, the back, the shoulder. But you can do it on any single part of your body. There's no restrictions. It's just kind of finding the right position and kind of learning it and getting used to it.
I'm going to have to try those out. I do so much typing at work that, at the end of the day, you just feel so stiff in your arm. So definitely going to try that one. We did talk a little bit about lower body, upper body. And now I'm wondering, how important is your core, especially when it comes to playing a game like pickleball?
Your core is massively important, especially when it comes to your back and your lower back, even more so. Obviously, as you get older, people tend to have lower back problems even without playing sports or without having a job that's putting stress on their back. It's just kind of one of those first things that go. So having a strong lower core specifically, but core in general, is really going to put all the pieces together. You can tell if you're doing lower body exercises or upper body exercises. Like if you have a weak core, you're going to feel that. Like you're going to instantly know if you're doing the overhead press, if you're having a hard time, the first thing you're going to do is that your hip is going to kind of get involved and you're going to push forward because you don't have the core strength to keep yourself still, and then now your back's doing all the work for you. So if you're someone who feels like your back's getting activated way too much during your workouts and that workout that your back shouldn't even, it doesn't even make sense that should happen, it's probably because you have a weak core. And the core is universally helpful, useful, and important through any single type of exercise that you do, and there's no really exception to that.
I know a lot of people when they think of core, they're going, "Oh, I'm going to do crunches." Well, the core is so much more than just doing crunches and then sit-ups and stuff. So what would you suggest is one or two exercises that will really help with the core?
Definitely static holds. So the plank's obviously a perfect example because your goal with your core should be to help strengthen your back. If you want a six pack, then that's mostly nutrition. That's body fat percentage. Like having a six pack is great and all, but that's what sit-ups and all those type of exercises are for. But when we're working our back, we want to put our body in a position where we're either holding for a long period of time or we're doing a small movement that's going to slowly activate it. So I'm going to take a plank, for example, and I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to make a plank a little bit harder and make it a little bit more worthwhile compared to just, holding and keeping that back flat. So I'm going to go sideways so it's a little bit easier to see. So I'm going to get into the plank position. And I'm going to use a weight just for example, but you can use just your hand free weighted. So I'm going to get onto all fours. I'm going to get into a regular plank, back flat, butt flat. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this weight right at the base of my opposite elbow. I'm going to take my right arm. I'm going to reach it under, and I'm just going to drag it across, reset my hand, take the other hand, grab the weight, drag it across, and kind of just keep going back and forth. Oh, I just kicked it away. But basically, we're just going to keep taking that weight. We're going to keep dragging it across. Now we're activating our oblique, and now we're getting those thoracic spine twists as we're holding our core in a stable position. So ideally, if you can, you want to put yourself in a position to where you can activate your back as well, because that's the whole goal. Strong back, strong core, strong back. And then some of the other exercises we can do is doing same thing, static holds. A lot of people hate this exercise because it hurts your back, but it's not hurting your back, it's working your back. So laying completely flat on the ground, taking those feet 6 inches off the ground, and then we're just holding. Just keep it there, hold it, and your abs are gonna burn. You're not really working anything as far as moving your legs or moving around, but your back's getting activated, your lower core is getting activated, and that's gonna build a lot more steady strength. So the whole idea is body control. Body control, whether it's your feet, whether it's with your core, whether it's with your back, the more body control that you have, the less likely you are to get injured, and the more successful you're going to be when moving around on the court, or even just day to day throughout your regular day doing random activities.
Well, this has all been so helpful and knowledgeable, and I can't wait to go into the gym tonight and to test out some of these.
I know.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge with us.
Maybe
For our
Reggie,
listeners, yeah,
before we get to the end, we did have that question earlier about elliptical
yeah.
bad for what was the question?
Yep. Thank you for reminding me. So earlier we were talking, and maybe like years ago, I was informed that the elliptical is not a good machine or good cardio machine for you because it's an unnatural movement and it puts a lot of pressure on your knees. Can you debunk this or share any knowledge that would help us understand this a little better?
I personally, I do not like the elliptical machine at all. I think it's, for lack of better words, like a lazy man's cardio exercise. It's nice that you're getting movement, and it's good if it's the easiest that you can do. There's definitely a lot of people that come in and either the bike's too much or it's uncomfortable, the treadmill's too much or too uncomfortable. The elliptical is a good starting point if you really just need to get used to moving again. But as far as you going in and spending 45 minutes to do your cardio on an elliptical, I really think it's a waste of your time. It's not bad for getting a warm up in. Like if you're gonna do leg day and you decide to hit the elliptical for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and no problem at all with that. But as a core cardio exercise, I would definitely say that you're really not working as much as you think you're working. Um, so I would definitely be on the side of the elliptical is more useless than useful.
There we go.
There you go.
Final answer.
That's right. When I hit the gym, not doing elliptical as much anymore.
Get on that Stairmaster.
There you go.
Stairmaster. Yeah, that's a good one. Well, Blaze, thank you so much again. For our listeners who may be interested in reaching out to you with their specific questions or just for additional content, where can they find you?
Yeah, so my website, blazinironfitness.com. You have two different options for online training, technically three different options for online training. Right now, I offer Zoom training online. So if you have the ability to set your camera up somewhere and be able to record yourself so I can see you, we can do online Zoom training as if I was just there with you in person. We have monthly programs that are completely tailored to each individual. Nothing's cookie cutter, or nothing's pre-made. Everything is individualized to what your needs are, for what your dysfunctions are, what you need to get done, and what your goals are. And then finally, we have a $15 a month subscription with just a library full of videos for you to kind of take each exercise. You can either build your own workout, kind of get comfortable working out, and then there's also full workouts on there for you to do. It's just me talking to you through a video. I try to keep the videos nice and short so you can watch them and just kind of continue on with your workout. But right now, those are the three online options that I have available. And then if you reach out to me on Instagram at Blazin Iron Fitness, then I'd be happy to answer any questions. If you reach out via DM or in the comment section, I have no problem reaching back out and answering any questions that you might have.
And then one of the things that you also offer is you help with nutrition as well.
Yes, yes. So I do offer nutrition. If you get any of the online training or online programs, the nutrition will come with it for free. There's no separate charge for nutrition. But nutrition definitely is so far been the most popular going into this new year. A lot of people are loving trying to eat cleaner, eat better. I know that there's going to be a lot of changes coming up with our healthcare system. So it's good to kind of attack your proper eating the right way, because that it helps with how you feel, how you perform in your production on a day-to-day basis. You feel a lot less lethargic. And then, like I said, those six packs, you guys want a six pack that's all made in the kitchen. It's not all those ab crunches.
Well, when you talk about the kitchen and I talk about the kitchen, it's two different things, right? So I'm talking about the kitchen on the pickleball court. You're talking about the kitchen and eating. Unfortunately, I spend too much time on both kitchens. So we need to talk about my nutrition, my workout, and I just cannot wait to get started with you. So thank you for coming on today and sharing those. It just gets me even more inspired to really work on this upcoming year. So let's take our third shot and celebrate what is to come. Working with Blaze Boudreau.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Cheers. And thank you, Amanda, for being the fantastic camera person.
Yes.
Good job. Well, thank you again, Blaze, for joining us. And everybody listening and watching, I think you probably picked up some great tips for your pickleball journey. Bridgie and I will continue to share our pickleball journey with you every week. Really special thanks to Blaze for joining us today. And if you want to see some great videos of the training sessions, go to his Instagram page. We didn't mention that. It's also Blazin Iron Fitness. You'll be able to find him. He has got some videos of him and his students, and you can see what they're working on. Definitely go to his website, blazinironfitness.com. Let me spell it out for you just so you know. It's BLAZIN, no G there, BLAZINIRON fitness.com. And there you can sign up and get on a program like I am doing. You can support this show by subscribing, and we promise to have more amazing guests just like Blaze in future episodes. So let's continue to share our enjoyment for the game and grow the pickleball community together. See you next time on Third Shot Podcast.